Planning a Disney luxury resort vacation for the young and the young at heart. Stay tuned. My special guest today to explore Disney resort vacations is Christy Fitzharris, owner and founder of Wheels Up Travel Co. Making her home in Texas, Christy enjoys meeting the needs of her clients in and around Texas and across the country. Hi, Christy. Welcome back to RTE Travel Talk.
Hi, Ken. Happy to be here.
Great to have you back with us, Christy. So it's been 52 years. I was doing the math. Goes to show how old I am since I've been to Disney World. And I know there's been a lot of changes in that time. And I understand that you've recently returned from Disney World resorts. I was kind of hoping today if we could take a 30,000 foot level look at the accommodations and what our viewers and listeners might need to know. How does that sound?
That sounds great, Ken.
Perfect.
I'd love to help.
Perfect. So where do we start, Christy?
Well, there's so much to know.
Yep.
So it's impossible to cover everything that Disney World offers to its guests in just one video. A lot of people don't know that there are 3 18-hole golf courses on Walt Disney World property where Dad could go to escape. There are spas available. There are over 25 resorts. There's 4 theme parks and then 2 water parks. So really, how I like to approach how to help a client is to start with a call and get their tastes and their time and their budget nailed down. But just in general, I like to focus on the luxury side of what Disney has to offer. And by luxury, I mean convenience, because that term is so subjective. And so really that boils down to where are you staying and what are the transportation options available to you while you're there. And for me, my favorites are all on the Monorail line. There are 3 great deluxe resorts there. And then you have great easy access to the Magic Kingdom Park and Epcot.
What was it like staying at these deluxe resorts? Where did you stay?
So I stayed at the Contemporary Resort, and this was my first time staying there. Right. That was actually a childhood dream of mine because I grew up looking at that monorail line that drives straight through that resort. Right. And it's just a very cool A-frame design building. It is a deluxe property, and you have the most convenient transportation option available to you in the entire Walt Disney World Resort complex available at that resort. There they also have some high quality signature level dining with the California Grill, which is up at the very top level of the resort with spectacular views of Magic Kingdom and the fireworks. And then they have other really great dining establishments like a Steakhouse 71 with the best burger on the park or in the entire resort, definitely tested and tried multiple times. And then great offerings for adults. So a couple of bars, a place for kids to go grab quick bites easily. And then they also have a wonderful club level lounge where you can get snacks and drinks throughout the day.
Excellent. So would I be correct in assuming that the Contemporary Resort is like a great home base to set up, and then you can venture out from there and explore all the other options available in this huge expanse of park?
Absolutely. Yeah. And each resort has its own pros and cons, of course, but my favorite for convenience would be any of the ones along the monorail line.
Okay. So which other ones are along the monorail line?
The Polynesian, that was along with the Contemporary, another opening day resort that was in place when the park opened. And it was originally just Polynesian themed, and they've recently woven Moana aspects and theming into that resort. Yeah. And it's beautiful. You truly do feel like you are in Hawaii or French Polynesia when you step into that resort. It even smells similar to when you walk into a resort in Hawaii. And then there's also the Grand Floridian, which was based on early 1900s Florida resorts when the rail line was just coming into town.
So basically, these 3 resorts that you're talking about are kind of the original. Am I right about that?
The Grand Floridian was not an original, but it was built very soon after the park opened.
Okay. You mentioned that if you're thinking about a Disney vacation on the resort, there's just so much to talk about. Like we could be here for days. So we're focusing on the luxury. Now, what defines that?
Since it is so subjective, I like to define it as convenience and ease of access to the parks. Well, the worst thing, in my opinion, when you're ending a wonderful day at the Magic Kingdom is to have to stand in a very long line to get back to your resort. And then the transportation also takes a long time to get back to your resort. So for example, some of the value resorts have an internal bus loop. So once you're on the bus from the Magic Kingdom, for example, you have multiple stops to make along the way. But if you are at a deluxe resort, you've got alternative transportation options like boats, the monorail, and of course also a bus. And those buses go directly to one stop and then you're home. That's really how I define luxury. Of course, each resort that is in the deluxe category has larger rooms, more elevated theming, does have the more diverse transportation options, and they are all closer to the parks. So there are definitely differences, but to me, it all boils down to convenience.
And when you think about it, depending how long you're going to be at Disney, time is kind of the essence. So
Absolutely.
if you can cut out the amount of time you spent standing in any line, back in my day, that was a thing at Disney. There was long lines. So if anything that you can do to reduce that is going to just add to your experience, and then I would expect that at the end of the economy wise is worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, talking about lines, Disney does have several ways that actually in the theme parks you can avoid lines. And that is something that we can help you decide which product is best for you for
Mhm.
that. So they do have the Genie Plus program, which is you'll put an app on your phone and then you can reserve ahead times to show up at the rides. And you can enter a separate queue and have a significantly reduced wait time. And that costs a few dollars each day. But the ultimate in luxury as far as skipping lines in the parks is the VIP tour. I had the privilege of getting to do that again a couple of days ago, and we were able to visit 3 parks and cover 14 rides in just 7 hours. It was a wonderful experience. Our guide was incredibly knowledgeable, and he designed his touring plan around wishes that we had provided to them. And so we got to hit all of the rides that generally have an hour or more wait time,
Right.
and we got it all done inside of 7 hours. It was fantastic.
That's amazing. So that's something that you can design. You get together with Disney and you design something like that for your guests.
Well in advance, we sent our plan,
Yeah.
what we'd like to do. Some people like to design their day to make it just more easy.
Yeah.
Some people like to do it in such a way that they're moving fast so that they can hit all of those rides. And that's how we did it that day.
Yeah.
There's also great perks to shifting your VIP tour to certain time frames of the
Yeah.
day so that it ends right before a parade or fireworks, so that you can be deposited into the VIP viewing section at the end of your tour and have a fantastic view of the fireworks.
Everything that you're just describing there makes perfect sense to me, because then everything's planned out and you're not, I guess the word I'm looking for is you're taking the stress out of it, fighting through a line and getting the best seat and where am I going to be on time and that sort of things. There has to be a cost involved with that. Is there, Christy?
It's pricey, but I think if you think of it in a per person aspect and consider what you can get done in one day, that it really does become quite valuable. So an interesting fact I recently learned is that the clients who book VIP tours the most actually stay in the value resorts. So they are placing a higher value on time in the park over their accommodations. And so they're balancing the total cost of the trip by staying in a place that is just a bed and a place to take a shower. And then they're going straight to the parks and crushing it, for lack of a better term, in the parks with their VIP guide.
Yeah.
And so the VIP tour does cost on average between $450 and $900 per hour. And there is a minimum of 7 hours required to initiate a tour. And so we took a 7-hour tour, and the rate that day was $700. We filled the group to the max with 10 guests, and that broke down to $490 per person, which for me, to get private transportation between all the parks, some backstage access, and to be let into the very front of the line through an exit or into the lightning lanes and have that really quick on and off all of those rides, it was completely worth it.
Well, yeah, and it's not unlike a high-end excursion on a cruise, really.
Exactly.
So let's talk about one of my favorite things: the gastronomic adventures you can get up to with Disney.
Disney has really stepped up their game here. I remember visiting as a child and being able to find chicken nuggets and cheeseburgers wherever I needed, and then visiting as a young adult again and kind of feeling that like maybe that was really still the only thing available. But they're really stepping up the level of cuisine in their signature and higher cost dining experiences. For example, the Be Our Guest restaurant, delicious food. the Cinderella's castle, delicious food. But there's also a step above all of those. In most of the deluxe resorts, they'll have a wonderful fine dining establishment, like I mentioned in the California Grill, Citricos at the Grand Floridian. But there are also 2 Michelin-starred restaurants on Walt Disney World property, and one of those is Victoria and Albert's in the Grand Floridian, and there's one over at the Four Seasons. And there is a Four Seasons resort on Walt Disney World property with full access to all of the wonderful Disney World amenities.
Wow. So if you're putting something like this together for your guests, is the dining included? Or, for want of a better word, is it like on the cruise ships, like specialty dining that they would have to pay extra for? How does that actually work?
Sure. So there's 2 ways to do it. You can do it completely a la carte and just decide where you'd like to go, how you'd like to use your dollars, as you would on most land-based vacations.
Right.
But there is also a Disney dining package that will allow you a certain number of snacks, quick service, and sit-down meals per day. It will also come with a resort refillable mug, which is great for the kids.
Right.
Because then they can get unlimited sodas or whatever it is they're drinking while they're back at the resorts. That really does help a lot of clients feel like it's a little bit more luxurious, just because it does eliminate that stress factor in how much extra is this going to cost, to eat there. It's all included. It's handled up front in the cost of the trip, and you don't have to worry about it.
Now, besides just the actual parks themselves, I gather guests can spend all kinds of other times enjoying other amenities like spas. You mentioned golf. What's Disney Springs?
Disney Springs is the dining and shopping district. It's outside of the parks, and it's just a really great place to spend. You could really spend a whole day there, but it's a great place to spend an afternoon or an evening picking up those souvenirs that you may not have been able to find in the parks. And then there's also a ton of great restaurants, fantastic restaurants, and they range all the way from, quick grab and go bites to sit down, fantastic meals.
And, really, when we think about a Disney resort vacation, the first thing that comes to mind for most people, is the characters. But to my mind, it's so much more than that. As they're fond of saying, it's for the young and the young at heart. But, if the Disney characters is not a thing, you can still have a fantastic time there. Right?
Absolutely. I get a lot of requests from clients who say, we're not Disney people, but the kids want to go.
Right.
And so in cases like that, we design a trip with the parents in mind, because some parents do grow up with Disney in their hearts, and they're fine with going to the parks only and hard charging in the parks and cramming everything in that they can to get the most out of that Disney experience. But for the parents who want a little bit more of a laid back, less Disney-fied experience, we can definitely do that by placing you at certain resorts, scheduling dining that is less Disney immersive. There's so many restaurants in the parks and in the resorts that are a little bit more refined, of course, in the theming. And then there's great ways to schedule adult time into the experience, where dad could go play a round of golf, mom can go to the spa, the kids can go do something else by going to one of the 2 water parks that are available. And then in addition to all these other things that Disney provides outside of the resorts, there is a schedule every day of on-site resort activities that go on, from movies to jewelry making to art classes, things like that the entire family can participate in outside of the theme parks.
Oh, fantastic. Now, speaking of outside of the theme parks, you mentioned to me when we were putting together an outline for this that you can actually combine some time at the park with a Disney cruise.
Absolutely. The port and the resorts are not too far apart, about 45-minute drive from Orlando to the port, and a great way to end one of these vacations in the parks. I think a great way to unwind would be to go on a Disney cruise, because I think they do an unbelievable job of taking care of adults on those ships. Not only is there a kids club, but there's a place to send younger children for select hours of the day. You can schedule that in advance and go enjoy time in the adults only area. They have great bars and lounges for adults. They have adults only activities, and they also have wonderful adults only sun decks, where on other cruise lines, you'd have to pay an arm and a leg to have access to space that's reserved for adults like that.
I think you've got an upcoming cruise with Disney, do you not?
Yes, it's fantastic. That's my favorite cruise line right now, because I have a 4-year-old.
I have to tell you, Christy, I got a real soft spot in my heart for Disney, especially the ship, the Disney Magic. We spent 7 incredible days on it. We don't have time in this video to talk about it, but you'll have to come back and we'll compare notes. They really know how to bring the magic on board these ships. It's just
Yes, they
incredible.
do.
Well, this really sounds incredible. But the one thing that I see by looking it all over, there's so many options and it looks so complicated. How important is it to work with a Disney expert when planning a vacation like this?
I think it's a great idea. Not only are there so many options and we can help you match the ones that fit best to you, we really just streamline the process. So when a client comes to us and looks for a Disney vacation, we are booking their dining in advance. You have to wake up at 6 a.m. Eastern to get your dining reserved 60 days out in advance of your stay. We're showing you how to navigate the app Genie Plus, and then we're, of course, handling any other magical extras that you might want to add to your trip, like the VIP tour or a photo shoot next to the Magic Kingdom.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, Christy, this is absolutely super information. Is there anything else you would advise folks who are looking to book such a Disney resort vacation?
So I always advise with any vacation to book as early as you realize that you want to go. Don't delay. The rooms that will hold families of 5 or larger go very quickly. And so we'd like to make sure that we accommodate you in the best way that suits your family. And then besides that, absolutely just work with a travel planner who can help match you to the right resort for the parks that you want to visit or the theme that maybe your kids are most interested in, and then handle all those other details that will be coming up as you plan a Disney World vacation.
Super. So how far in advance should folks think about booking something like this? Like if you're planning like a multi-generational adventure with grandma and grandpa and mom and dad and the kids, number one, how far in advance can you book it, and how far in advance do you recommend?
Generally, you can book a year to a year and a half in advance, depending on the time of year that you're interested, that you let me know that you're interested in departing. It's better to let me know just as early as you can, especially for those multi-generational trips, because Disney does have some accommodations that will hold 12, and those go very, very fast. And so if I know that you're interested, I can definitely place you on a wait list, and we'll do our best to get you into those level of accommodations.
Okay, perfect. Well, this is wonderful information. If folks want to find out more information about booking a Disney resort or a Disney cruise, how would they do that?
The best way is just give me a call. It's 830-310-0244. Typically, we'll set you up with an appointment for me to call you back later, because I like to dedicate 15 to 30 minutes to each of these intake calls with a new client so that I can understand exactly the type of vacation that you're looking for.
Super. Well, I'll leave those links in the description for folks that might like to reach out to you, Christy. But as always on this show, one of my favorite parts is I get to live vicariously through the travels and the adventures of all the wonderful people I get to interview. So I have to know where you're off to next. What's your plans for Christy?
In just a few weeks, we are headed out to Seattle to visit join the Celebrity Edge on one of its sailings to Alaska. But the big trip that is still coming up this year that I am most excited about is we are taking a group of about 23 guests and my 4-year-old daughter on a Christmas markets river cruise along the Danube with AMA Waterways.
Oh, fantastic. It's Christmas markets cruise is magical. We'll have to have you back to regale us with your adventures in the Christmas markets on AMA Waterways. How does that sound?
That sounds great, Ken. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. With that, Christy, I'm just going to wish you safe and happy travels on all your future cruises, vacations, and destinations. May the wind always be at your back, and I hope to see you on the Lido deck sometime soon.
Thanks, Ken. Have a great day.
Take care. And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Christy Fitzharris of Wheels Up Travel Co. If you'd like to reach out to Christy about a possible Disney resort vacation, I will leave her contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach out to us with a question or a suggestion for a future interview, you can send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com. Visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, share, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels.